All right. So I was just briefing everyone, Ed, that you and I had a kind of an extended conversation last week. And then I saw your post on Facebook today that we're getting close. These boxes are coming in and they're going to start distributing them. But, I said to the group, look, they're not going to send free boxes out to people that aren't paying attention. It's just not going to happen. And that you and I felt like it was probably a good idea to get, just build business builders, people who are paying attention. Let's get them on the phone. Let's get them on a Zoom. Let's talk about, how to move ourselves up in the queue and make sure that we're doing whatever the company feels is necessary in order to qualify to be awarded a chance to get a free hotspot and maybe more, because that's the idea, is to build these clusters and get them in the hands of people that know how to plug them in and how to put them up, and they're willing to put an antenna up if that's necessary, that sorts of things. So I said, let's do it next Wednesday at 1. Here we are already.
Boom. Exactly.
Boom.
So so things are starting to get real, which is exciting. We've been starting to actually do things differently on our Facebook group. If anybody's in part of that, on Tuesdays and Thursdays now, we're totally going into a strategy kind of session more than an opportunity session. So we kind of made an executive decision to, there's so many people that are coming into this business, right? And it's just like anything else in life. It's an 80-20 business. 80% of the people are, just, hey, I'll take a box. Sure. Make $100 a month, sign me up. I'll do it. Right. And then you've got the people that are actually looking at this as something that they're going to really add on to their life as a good income stream. And then from there, you got your 5%ers that are, going all in on this because they see the big picture and they kind of study it, and they're on every webinar, soaking up every detail and learning about the things that are changing, because it is a very fluid situation. Now, it's always been known that from the very beginning that it's very tight with inventory. It's just, there's no getting around that. There's nobody that can do anything about that, except for, iHub is definitely very aggressive with plenty of money to make big deals, to get big PO orders, because they know that they have to get millions of units, right? So they have a big PO right now for 180,000 boxes, another one for 75,000, and right now they're working on the 1 million unit PO. We should know more about that on Friday, but VIP orders have already started to ship. So we've gotten boxes. We've gotten about probably 75 boxes. We did a consortium back in June. People ponied up money and wanted to get into these boxes, and those boxes are starting to ship now.
What's a VIP box?
They in the beginning, they had this deal where you could buy a 6-pack. It was, you put a $500 deposit down, and then when the time came, they were shipping out the box, they'd ask for the rest of the money, and then they would ship out 6 boxes to whoever was on that. So we caught the very tail end of that in mid-June, and we're able to get like 80 boxes put in through a consortium of people that we had gotten together. And those boxes are the ones that are starting to ship. So we've got ourselves a situation where the VIP boxes are boxes that we can actually put in organizations to basically seed a 6-pack. So if somebody's got a 6-pack going, we can actually send a box out to somebody who's coordinating that effort. They can host the box. So it's like they get their box, and then we notify corporate saying, hey, we got a VIP box in the middle of a 6-pack. And then boom, they drop ship 5 other boxes to complete that 6-pack. Because what they're trying to do is we're going to do this free deployment, which is really going to happen very soon. But they know that if they get a 6-pack going, that there's other orange dots that are going to start to grow around the 6-pack. And they know that free deployment is going to be good in those places because there's enough people that are already in the business, especially with the leader with a VIP box, that are going to be able to help people if they have questions with like hooking them up in the house and stuff like that. So we've kind of gone through that process, and it's a pretty simple process, but someone just gets a box out of nowhere in the mail, and there is instructions in it, but you got to hope and pray that they do it right, because that's a very finite box. There's not a lot of them. So you want to make sure when it gets parked in the right place in the house, that it starts to generate HNT. So that's the company is really trying to find the sweet spot with that, with trying to get the field to help out with that as well. So that's where we are right now. We're getting VIP boxes. We should get another tranche in. So we're looking for good 6-packs to seed. And that's really kind of what we're doing right now, because once the free boxes start to fly, they're going to start to fly, but they're going to be in concert with VIP boxes that have kind of set the stage for the areas in which the company can grow quickly. Does that make sense?
Yes, and obviously you're above me a couple slots, maybe 3, maybe you're 3 from me, something like that. So you're looking at your teams and you're saying who's in there playing, who's in there building, who's paying attention, who knows what's going on, and you're in the VIP situation. So maybe you send me 1 box and then you inform the company, hey, one of my people's got 6 of these boxes right around his house. Send him those free ones. That's kind of the strategy. What's going on?
Exactly.
And are we allowed to ask questions while this is in this?
Absolutely. This is for you guys. This is
Well,
all about
my first immediate thought is very upsetting, because when we started with this, there was no indication that for me to get people that would get boxes, that they had the requirement of creating, 5 other people around them to start with. I mean, I don't understand this.
so
I was told about the issue, and the system, and I signed up right away. And then I went and put X number of people under me, but I didn't tell them one of the requirements was that you had to get 5 other people around you for you to get the free hotspot. I mean, that's patently unfair.
But that's not the requirement. So,
Yeah.
Hey, Ed, let me just try if I can clarify something for Joel. When someone says they're going to host a hub, there's no requirement that they have to go find 5 other people to create a 6-pack. But if you find 6 people who want to host it, that's making your 6-pack. This is, I think, what Kurt was trying to do, is get people on here who are out building teams. And this is where the strategy is. We're focusing on how do we get our teams deployed these boxes as quickly as possible. Is that correct, Ed?
yeah, exactly. It's not a requirement for anybody to build 6-packs, but as we've been saying all along on our Facebook group is, people have the ability to bump up in the shipping queue just by plugging in and learning about this. Like I said, they're 5%, 20%, and 80%. 80% of the people, they heard about this. It's great. I'll take a box. Sure. Give me a box. You don't even know where they are. They're in the middle of nowhere. They will eventually, one day, they'll get a knock on the door and say, hey, we got your box for you. But they're certainly not going to send a box to anybody who lives in the middle of nowhere that is not going to generate any HNT. It just doesn't make financial sense to do that. But those people haven't been plugging in. They don't, if they've been plugging in, they know that they should be learning about, addresses and good locations and antenna strategies and stuff like that. That's where you have the 5%, the people that are literally living and breathing this thing because they know it's going to be big. It's delayed gratification for sure, but they know it's going to be worth the haul, right? So for those people, that's where we kind of changed up on our Facebook group to do more strategy sessions. So every Tuesday and Thursday, that's what we've been doing at
At
noon.
what time? When on
At noon,
Is that,
Tuesday, Thursday, noon?
Tuesday and Thursday at noon. It's in the Facebook group.
what time zone?
Eastern.
What's the Facebook group again, Ken?
It's helium iHub.
And that's a Zoom.
That's a Zoom. And what we do there is basically an hour long, and we encourage people to come with addresses because we're trying to get a better sense of aptitude and what addresses people give us. Then we go to Helium Track and we show the address, and then we explain, what's good or not good about the address. Because you got to remember, to be in this business, let's say I lived in the middle of Idaho, right? And there's no boxes around me. It's a great opportunity, but I'm never going to get a box. It's like, I'm not going to get a box for a long time, right? Because a box at my house would do nobody any good. I wouldn't make any money. iHub wouldn't make any money. No money would be made, right? So you want to get boxes in places that are actually going to make money, right? Going to generate HNT. So you don't have to have a box at your house in order to generate HNT, in order to make a business and create a business. It's, if you can get a box, great. If you can't, it's no big deal. You don't lose anything by not being a host. You can still build a team and still get rewarded just the same way. So what we're doing on these calls is telling people, okay, let's throw us an address, get in the chat, throw us an address, and we go and we basically analyze an area, and we'll show them, okay, now you've got yourself right here. If you had, and you've got, 3 orange dots in your area, get 2 or 3 more orange dots. And then what's going to happen is a VIP box will be sent to that person who built that 6-pack, and then it'll seed that area. But then from that area on, there's all sorts of orange dots all over the place. And your 6-pack goes in, then there's an orange dot by themselves. They never planned any 6-packs. They didn't do any of that. They just happen to have an orange dot next to a bunch of other green dots that are already working, and they know that they can ship them a box and it'll make money. That's when the free deployment's really going to kick in, and they're going to start shipping these things out like crazy. So they're just using the VIP boxes to basically seed areas right now. So we're hoping.
Hey, Ed, in my area where I'm at, I'm the only person that's able to reserve a spot in my area. There are so many other green dots around me, and how I got mine, I lucked out, I guess, because it was really pretty dense. But I can't put anyone else close to me, even within 1.5 miles of my house. So would I get a box sooner because there's so many other places that it could ping off of and witness against?
Yeah. Do you guys mind if we do a couple examples of what I'm talking about through Helium Track?
I don't mind.
Yeah,
So
I don't mind. And I think I want to just pipe in just a little bit to clarify. I think that people like Ed are he's looking at his team, and he's seeing who all the players are. Who's that 5% in his team? I like to think I'm part of that 5%. John, you're obviously part of my 5%. Joel's part of my 5%. So Joel has a box at his house, and there's green dots all over the place, all around him. We want to motivate him to get going. So he's going to get a box at his house. He's going to plug it in, and maybe Ed, and if I'm wrong, we're going to look at the people in his organization and kind of do the same thing. We want to give it to people that are in there kicking every day, bringing in new people, but strategically placing those, deploying the boxes strategically, not just, well, because he has 100 people in his group, we'll send out his boxes. No, we're going to send out 6. Let's pick the 6 best ones. Am I on track on that?
100%. Yep.
100%. So Joel has nothing to worry about. He did the right thing. He's got good people. He's got boxes in great places that are going to make helium. He just has to, he's going to get his box from you or from somebody to get going. And then strategically, they're going to maybe ask Joel, where do you want the next 5 to go or the next 6? Let's strategically put those in places we're going to all make money. So Joel, you're still in good shape, buddy.
Yep. No doubt about it.
Okay.
All right, let's get an address. Let's get an address so we can kind of point this out a little
Well,
bit.
put Joel's address in there. Joel, you're on mute.
If you guys need an address, I got one.
I got one too. I can give you.
I got an address
John,
that
let
I
me-
haven't put in yet, okay? 1104 Doubloon, Doubloon Drive, North Myrtle Beach.
Hold on, DeBloom.
Doubloon.
There it is.
There it is.
Okay. So here's someone that, if I were going to enroll this person and I got a sense of whether they were really into it and they wanted to make it work, what I would encourage them to do is I would encourage them to obviously reserve their spot and then try to get they've already got the advantage of one other person there. Try to get 4 other people around north, east, west, south, so that they create their own 6-pack, right? And then they can go and bring other people on and teach each one of those people to try to look at the business the same way. What if they're in a good location and they have a bunch of boxes around them and they just fit right in and they're going to feed off of a bunch of other boxes, they're good to go. They don't need to do anything else. But if they're in a place like this,
Yeah,
they're not going to get a box
okay.
anytime soon until other boxes start to show up around there. And, that's the best part about this, in my opinion, is that we've got iHub, but there's also other people out there, entrepreneurial people that are getting boxes and putting them out there. They've been doing it for 2 years, 2.5 years. So there's boxes that are just going to pop up. So eventually, even if this person signed up and they didn't do another thing, maybe a year from now, they get an email from iHub saying, hey, we're ready for you. You're going to be a good spot now. So are you ready for your box? And they say yes, and box shows up there.
So
All right.
your recommendation,
Ed.
let me jump in again, Joel. So your recommendation, Ed, would be to say, make them an affiliate. You can make them an affiliate. They haven't bought a box or they haven't ordered a free box yet, or they find a place that does, their mother-in-law lives with, 10, active boxes all around them and their spot's open. That's what you want to do, is become an affiliate and put it someplace else. Wouldn't you say that?
I wouldn't. I would actually sign up my own home right here, try to get the 4 other people to get a 6-pack, and then bring other people on. Because remember, you don't have to have a box in order to build a team. You don't have to host a hotspot.
All right,
Right.
but there's already an orange dot within that hexagon. Are they going to even issue her a spot there?
Yeah, but remember that this is all you care about, is this orange circle.
Oh,
That's
okay.
it. The only thing you care about is the orange circle. You just don't want another orange dot in this orange circle.
Okay.
You can have them. This is called your sweet spot, right? So this is perfect. There's already got one person in the sweet spot. Can you get and I train this. I say, do you know anybody else that would live? And I kind of zero in and go into, okay, here we are. Here's the real location. Do you know anybody that lives over on Gulfview Drive? Or do you know anybody that lives near the shopping center? They say, oh yeah, my friend Jack lives over there. Great, let's get Jack, try to get Jack to learn about this, and then start working with Jack, saying, Jack, you're the only person I know in the sweet spot. do you know anybody else? And Jack says, oh, I know Betty over here on Parkway Drive. So now Jack knows Betty. Now you got 3 people. They're going to know one other person that lives around here. Done. 6-pack done. Now this person that you signed up originally, they can now go recruit other people and try to do the same thing with them. If they recruit another person and that other person lives, I'll give you an example. They live, let's say down here. Let's say they recruit someone, they live down here and their house is right here. They're done. They don't have to do anything else. They've already got themselves enough boxes around where they're going to get money on that. That's going to be a profitable box for Helium or iHub to ship that box out. So it's either you're creating your own virgin territory, which is awesome to do. It's worth it because you're going to own that area, right? Or you're plugging into someone else's boxes. It's that simple.
All right, Ed, let me give you another address. And this one, I knew this first one was remote. But let's use an example of in an area that's nowhere near titled remote. 3642 Ransom, RANSOM Place, Alexandria. That's it.
So I'll always typically go just take it to 1 mile, right? And I'll
Yeah.
go in here, take it to 1 mile.
Wow.
Okay, so here's one where they're reserved in here, right? That there's already a green dot in their hex, right? So right off the bat, there's a negative thing about that today, but not going to be negative tomorrow. Okay. What I mean by that is that they probably reserved this spot in here, and then this box probably came in after the fact. So they were allowed to reserve this spot. Okay. But what happens is the rules of Helium is that right now, when you're first starting an area out, it's 1 hotspot per hexagon. Okay. But as soon as you have a hexagon to your right and to your left, you're now, the middle one is allowed to have 2 hotspots in it, because it expands the coverage area for them. The Helium programming says if you have a spot to your right and left in 2 separate hexagons, the one in the middle can now have 2 hotspots in it. Now, if another one went in over here, then they would all be allowed to have 2 in them, all of them. So not just 1, but 2. Okay. So my guess is that this box came on after this person reserved their hotspot. Okay. Now, this person right here has got a hotspot here, hotspot here. This one's falling out there. So if they got another one here, another one here, another one, it looks like someone's got a planned hotspot here. That's in the same hexagon. So my guess would probably be right out here. Then 3 or 4 more people would complete this right here. And that would be a great location. That make sense?
So this person that's that's currently affiliate of mine, that just became an affiliate a week or 2 ago and reserved that hotspot, they're not going to get a box early on. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that they have the ability to quicken it up. They can go and try to reserve, get more orange dots in this area.
Right.
If they know some other people, they're good down here. They got 2 boxes. They get 3 more, and they're going to be in primo shape to get a hotspot.
But if they don't go get those, they just have to sit and wait.
They sit and wait, but another entrepreneur from outside of the network or another iHub person could know somebody that lives here. It could happen without their even knowing about it.
Right.
And other people within iHub or Helium plant addresses in this area, or put in boxes, and all of a sudden now their box is good to go. They're going to be in a high reward zone, and they're going to get a box shipped to them.
You take a look at 5236. Winterview Drive. Winterview, it's 2 words.
Is that Alexandria?
Yes,
All right, so you have a planned hotspot here. That if they can enroll, if you reserve them, that's a good spot. If you can get
That's
them to
me.
reserve.
that's my home.
That's your home?
Yeah.
All right, so why is it blue, not orange?
You're asking me?
Like, do you know how to get into your helium track?
Well, before they changed it 4 times I did, but I'm not sure now.
So if you just go to heliumtrack.app and use your login credentials, this is where you want to be. This is where you want to be, doing everything.
Go to what? Helium?
Heliumtrack.app. App.
Okay. And then what?
And then
I can do this offline with you, Joel.
Okay.
yeah, you can just go in and put in your username and password, and right over here in the top right is the getting started, and it's kind of got like steps, things that you want to make sure are checked off. So right off the bat, if your hotspot is reserved, if it's not checked there, it needs to be. You need to make it check off there.
Hey, Ed, let me give you another address I want you to check on. 904 Edgefield, all one word, Trail, Flower Mound. Edgefield is one word.
Oh, sorry.
There it is, step one.
Okay.
All right, that's me, and I've got a reserved spot. That hexagon is not filled in, but look everything I've got around me.
Well, green is an active box.
Right.
Blue is a planned box, and orange is a reserved box. Blues don't really mean anything.
I usually cross off the planned hub up at the top. I just exit it out. Now, there's one directly east of where I'm at that is a reserved spot. And when they log in, that's west, east of me, but it's not showing up. It's not showing up on the map at all.
It's a reserved spot.
It is
Where
a
is
reserved
it?
spot. It's an affiliate I have. It's my father-in-law, and it's not showing up. It literally is in that box right where, just to the left of where you're, matter of fact, right where you're at, where your hand was just a minute ago.
Right
Right
in
there.
Okay, so another thing, what they're going to want to do is go into their helium track and make sure that their box is checked too.
It is checked.
And
It
there's
says
just
there
no-
have a hotspot. It's checked. The green box is checked off, but the map does not show orange dot.
That's crazy. Could this possibly be it right here?
No, that's I know what that one is. That's a different person.
I put in a ticket once, John, for this very same thing, and they fixed it the same day.
Well, I've put in 2 tickets regarding this, and it hasn't been fixed yet, and I haven't gotten any responses back from them.
All right.
I mean, I'll do another one.
That there's one right here.
Yep.
Okay, though this is a good area right here. this is going to be a good box when it goes in. So it definitely will be it's got a good shipping queue.
And I've got several others that I've got around me that have already got theirs, and they're that whole area, this whole flower mound area. There's like little open spaces like that,
Yep.
and what I'm doing is filling in those open spaces around all the hexagons that are already filled in, and it's starting to fill in pretty big.
Yeah. So one of the things that I like to look at on the helium track is when I go into an area, I get it down to like either 1 mile or 5 miles. And then this system over here tells me, okay, there's 7 active hotspots in range within a mile there, 7 different owners. Okay. The minted 55 in the last 30 days. So an average reward of almost 8. But if there were these, like this spot, let's say this one and the one that you're talking about, if all of a sudden those light up, then this is going to go to like 20 to 25 instead of 7, because every one of these boxes will benefit from more boxes coming into this area.
Yep.
It's like I've never seen anything like it. I saw a full 6-pack get deployed, which then gave room for 6 more boxes within the same hexes, and everyone's numbers doubled. The rewards. It's incredible to watch it actually happen. It happened in Norwood, Massachusetts. So this is a good spot. You're definitely going to get quick deployment there.
Yeah, let me give you the address of the place I'm telling you about that's reserved, but it's not. It's 415 North Garden Ridge, all separate words, Boulevard. And they have an apartment number 2109. I don't know if that's been the problem. That's it right there, but it doesn't show the apartment building. So their spot, it does say it's reserved on there when they go to their back office, but it's not showing up on the map. Is it because of the apartment building number?
No, I don't think so. Did they reserve it under the old system?
No, under the new system. Now I sent them an assessment and it said it was a good spot, and I had them up, get involved through the email that came out.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great spot. This will be a great spot. Whoever this is,
That's another one I've got planned.
yeah, that would be a good one. Do you have that already done?
No, not yet, because they're out of town. They're getting back Monday.
Yeah, that's definitely one you want to get to turn.
And then I've got some over here to the left of the in that box directly left of the open box that I'm in.
Yep.
There's one over there in that box left of that one.
Right in here.
No, the box in that box. Yeah.
Okay.
So I got one up there on the top part.
Up here.
No, down in that box on the left, I was telling you to go to. It's a planned spot.
Gotcha.
That one.
Yep. Those are all gonna be good. They're all gonna fill in beautifully.
So these are all part of the 6-pack that I was building out. Trying to
Gotcha.
find 6 that I can put somewhere around in here.
Yeah,
All right. Sounds like you're doing a great job, John. Carla has a question.
Go
no
ahead.
doubt about it. One of the benefits of this is a beautiful scenario because it's going to fill in. It's all going to be interconnected. The one major way that you're going to be able to earn more money is by investing in an antenna, for sure, in an area like this, because it's about hitting more and more boxes. So, depending upon, when we give boxes out now, it's amazing. Someone thinks that they can take it and put it in their basement, right? No, it can't go in the basement. It's got to go on the top window of the house, the top possible window, no screens, no screens in the window because the metal interferes with the signal. And then if they make an investment, $40 for a 5.8 dBi antenna, the investment is going to pay back over the course of a month or two. It's going to be a very short return on investment, but then they're locked and loaded. They're going to hit as many boxes as possible. They couldn't earn any more than they're earning in that location. So that's kind of one of the things when we talk about it with the people that are getting seated, the VIPs. Are you ready to get an antenna? Are you, every little thing can increase the rewards to make it where it's even more and more lucrative for everybody involved.
What's the lead time for the antenna to get that?
Like 2 to 3 days. They'll do it quick.
Okay, what kind of antenna is it? You said something DBI?
Yeah, I think like a 5.8 dBi is a pretty well-rounded antenna. It goes distance and it also has a omnidirectional, which means it doesn't matter which direction.
And that's one you can put up on your roof?
You could put that on your roof. You can get indoor ones. I got an indoor one and put it right on the windowsill. That way it's got a long, like a 15-foot cord. So you could put just the antenna up in the window and you can put the box away.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, Carla had a question. I don't want to quit talking.
Good.
Don't you have to hook into a router?
Yes.
Wi-Fi or router.
Or Wi-Fi?
Yep.
Okay, because if a router is down in the basement, or first floor, and you're putting a box in the, in the attic, you can't direct wire.
Yeah, you just got to make sure you get a good Wi-Fi connection.
How do you do that? I mean,
Like
You
if you
can-
have your computer and you can walk around your house where the box is and you see your Wi-Fi is still strong up there and you're able to get online, then your box will be fine up there.
all right, thank you.
Yep.
I got a
Carla?
question, please.
Wait a second. We had Carla. We just want to be
Sorry.
conducive here to our Carla, go ahead.
Thank you. I have a lady that has 3 different locations that they have. And I was asking John this, I want to get clarifications because she has, and they're all in different areas. One's in Houston, Katy, Manville, and one in Galveston. When a person wants multiple boxes, what is the protocol for that? Do they have to have an email address for each one or a different telephone? Or how does that work if a person wants to have multiple locations? And
So Carla, right now it's 1-to-1. So one location per person.
one location per person, but we could put it like in her husband's name for one other, but it just has to be 1-to-1. Okay.
Yep. So we have a guy that he owns 79 restaurants and he wanted to get all of them suited with boxes, but his strategy now is he's actually going to get every manager a box for the restaurant that they manage. The guy will end up making more money doing it that way because once he gets past his 25, he'll make 35% on every box. So it's actually better.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Yep.
And the shipping could always be to our address for the people that we're ordering for. Is that
Nope,
correct?
they're not doing that. They're not going to ship more than 1 box per person to a person's address.
Gotcha.
So they have to have their own shipping address and stuff.
Got it. And if nobody has a question, I do have a couple questions, please.
Go ahead, Fahad.
All right. So the first one, I'm in my back office right now looking at my downline for all the people that signed up under me. And I just don't understand this message. It says, we have not confirmed an order for a member yet. Therefore, they have not been coded. Once order is confirmed, they will be coded. I just need to clarify that. What does that mean?
So that just means that like when the boxes start to ship and the person gets the box, they're going to be coded in one of your 4 different teams, into your pro team or your bronze team or your silver team or your gold team, depending upon when they got their box, where is going to be where they fall in your code. So if nobody's gotten boxes, then there's nobody that could have code right now in your team.
Okay, so there's nothing from their end to be done
No,
because
they're not doing anything wrong. It's just the way it is right now.
got you. And my second question is, I actually put this question a few weeks ago, but I'm just gonna repeat it now. As far as getting more customers and recruiting more as an affiliate, my question was, if we're doing it in a different country, I'm building the US team here. I already got a good team, but I do have an opportunity overseas in a different country. And I was just wondering if it's the same method we're doing here. We just, refer them to our link and they can just order it themselves, or how does that work as far as the shipping goes and everything?
Yeah, it's going to be the same thing. They're truly setting themselves up to be a global company. So they can just go in, and as long as it's on a Google address, like as long as it's an identifiable Google address, it'll be able to be put through the system. The only thing I'll say to that is that, it's all about expectations for us, and it's all about expectations for people overseas.
Right.
And, talk about delayed gratification. It's going to be a delayed gratification for folks overseas, even more than so for us. So just keep that in mind when you're building. It's great to have stuff going. What I say to somebody who's overseas right now, I'd say, go in and give this thing a 90-day run and get as many people as you know with the right expectations, and let the business kind of go the way it goes. Eventually boxes will ship there, and eventually they'll have money, go back to doing what they're doing to make today money. But I mean, there's nothing that can possibly happen with the shortage of boxes to get iHub's a global situation going right now. It's very difficult and very challenging. It's just,
Okay.
there's just a real shortage. There's nothing else that anybody can do or say or kick and scream. It is what it is.
It
So,
is.
but right now there's 280,000 boxes that are already ordered, and POs have been issued, and they're going to get the boxes. They're starting to come in. There's a 1 million unit PO that's out there that we should know this week on the completion of that. So that's going to be a very good thing to get that.
Okay, gotcha. And if I could use your expertise, because I do have 2 routes to go with the overseas, situation. I have regular people, and then I have people that could be suppliers. Actually, they have business there, like electronics. They have electronic stores and things from that nature, cell phones and all other things. And they actually asked me this question. They said, "Hey, can we be a supplier and just get these devices and and distribute them in this country instead of you just keep referring people from all the way to the United States?" And I couldn't give like a yes or no. It's just because it was a new situation for me, and I couldn't tell which best route to go. So if you could help me out with that, I would greatly appreciate it. Do you think we
What's
should
the country you're talking about?
Morocco?
Morocco. Okay.
Yep.
And are there boxes there now?
I believe there is like 4 boxes in the entire country.
Okay. So your guys can be like basically distributors for shipping and stuff like that.
Pretty much. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's something we can run up the flagpole, to iHub Global. One of the things that they're setting up right now is they're going to do their first event in November. I think it's going to be the first weekend in November. And it's going to be like a live event in Vegas, but also broadcast through kind of Zoom. They've rented Eric Worre, has a huge studio out in Vegas, and they've contracted out with him for the venue. So they're going to have, it's kind of like a, a kind of like a hybrid live event, but also virtual. So everyone's going to have an opportunity to go, but you can also do it virtually. But there's going to be a lot of stuff that happens at that event where, people that are really building in other countries and stuff, can be heard there. And, if the company sees like a country that's just exploding with growth, that's kind of how they're going to determine where to go on a global basis. It's not just going to be like we have right now 160 companies represented or countries represented in the iHub system. But if there's a country with 4 boxes versus a country with, already a really good mass communicating together and stuff, it's all going to be in priority of where they know that the boxes can end up and make money, because they're investing, I think it's like $85 million into these boxes, and the investors are hedge funds and stuff. So they just want to make sure that these boxes end up in places that are going to generate good rewards fast. So that's kind of where the rubber meets the road. If you put your business cap on and think, if you had control over 1 million boxes with investment capital that was all yours, what would you want to happen with those 1 million boxes? Would you want them to go into Nebraska in the middle of a cornfield, or would you want them to go into Arlington, Virginia, or Louisville, Texas, where there's already stuff going on and the boxes are going to connect and make money? I think we'd all agree that it would be the Arlingtons and Louisvilles of the world.
That's right. No, you're absolutely right. I agree with you. The reason why I choose, I have chosen Morocco because just speaking of that country, if you guys don't know, there's the highest and the most technological country. It is one of the richest countries in Africa. It holds a lot of records, and it's the first country to recognize the independence of the United States. So we always had a great relationship with that country, and I'm originally from there, and I know how technology is in that country. It is crazy. There is internet everywhere. There's no export from Africa to the world unless if it passes by Morocco. So, we have a lot of commerce going on, a lot of internet, a lot of phones, a lot of technology going on. And I personally, from my own family, they actually down there, they own stores for electronics, laptops, all type of things. So I brought this up to, my family members, and they said, yeah, great. That's a great opportunity. We have Wi-Fi here everywhere in Morocco. And, if we can get our hands on these boxes, we'll distribute them all throughout the country. Ain't no problem.
Ed, what about the boxes for overseas? Aren't they a different frequency? I know there's different vendors in Japan, for example. SamCap or SenseCap is one of the big suppliers over there.
Yeah, there's 2 different frequencies really. But when you go to the actual websites to kind of see what the 2 frequencies are, they're either going to be the one that's ours, 915, or they're going to be the other one. And I can't remember exactly what it is. But my advice for the folks that are in Morocco right now is they have an opportunity through iHub to actually own the country, but that's just by going in and putting orange dots all over the place. Eventually it's going to hit. I just don't know when. If there are more orange dots though, the higher likelihood of it hitting sooner than later.
That's right. And if we help them out with some I can help them out with some internet marketing things. That's my field. That's what I do. So, I've done it here in the US and it did work. So I could definitely help out those folks down there with some internet marketing and to launch the business out electronically.
Yep.
Hey, Ed.
They have electronic stores and stuff. People come into their stores. It's an easy thing to say, give them a flyer and say, hey, there's something that's going to happen in the future. Go to this website and get signed up for it now. Get an orange dot on the board, and eventually one day we're going to get our boxes. And kind of do it like that, every little day, a little bit, and then a lot gets done over time.
That's right. Stores down there, they have electronic stores. They're a little bit different than what we know here in the US. So they sell electronics and they repair them as well. They have like a whole section of like laptops, iPhones, everything, and they do repair. So they have a lot of traffic coming in and out of the store. So
That's good.
that would be a
Ed,
good idea.
You talked about the groups, you know, the gold group, the silver group, the whatever you know, we have no control as to who is in what group. Isn't it really based on the first 5 that get boxes or the starting group and the second 5, even though, you know, I may have somebody in my chain that has a meaningful following under them, and they, by dumb luck, might be in the first 5, which works against me.
Well, there's not, it doesn't actually, you know, it is definitely a big thing is where someone, like if you could design it perfectly, you would design it the way you'd want to design it. But there's no one that has, it's when the box gets lit up in that line, that's where that person's going to be. It is what it is. It's a tricky one. But if you understand a coded comp plan, right? Usually the big downside of the coded comp plan is that when you first get started, you go out and get, you know, your grandmother and your dog and your cat in first, and then you start to get some serious players. And I never really liked that about the coded plan, but what they've done with this coded plan is they've made it advantageous that if someone that you want and you think should be in your gold actually gets a box and pumped right into your pro team, well, you earn a 25% up to a 25% check match on all of their coded business. So if you wanted someone in your gold team because they went 50 wide, you're only going to get the first 25 of them anyway. So if they go 50 wide, they're going to leave a lot. They're going to get a lot of code themselves, and you're going to get a 25% match. So having them in your pro team is actually very beneficial in certain cases. So that little tweak that they did for the pro team makes it so that if we don't have control and things just happen the way they happen, at least it's palatable. Does that make sense?
No.
It's hard. It's difficult if you really don't understand the plan, which, you know, I would throw my hand up and say, I really don't understand it fully, but you know, I've watched the video several times. I got a little bit of a feel and handle for it, but somebody like Ed, who's been in network marketing for 20, 30 years, you know,
well, John knows a coded comp plan better than I will ever know it because you lived it, right?
Yeah, in several businesses. Yeah. Don't worry about the coding, because the 25% match on the pro more than makes up for what you think you're losing out by not having somebody go on your gold team. That 25% match is going to be a lot bigger than you think. And that was the beauty of this comp plan, because that was my concern too, was not having the ability to pick where I want people to go and what code. But I understand that a lot of people will put, like Ed said, you know, your dog, your brother, your mother-in-law, your dead uncle, everybody. I mean, you just sign people up just to get past that first code so you can then start making some serious money. Well, they resolved that by having it when people get deployed a box, but then they took away the ability for us to put people that are going to really grow big down in our later codes by doing the 25% match. So I think they kind of solved the problem that it created by the coding issue.
Yeah, we came to terms with it when we first got started. We were like, when we found out that we didn't have the ability, like when we were recruiting people in, that's where they were going to be. We just said, you know what? If we're serious about this and we go after it, it really doesn't matter. The chips are going to fall where they may. And I mean, it's crying over spilt milk at that point, you know?
Carla, I'll call on you next, but I do have a question that goes back to a little bit of something we were talking about earlier. Ed, you know, in today's world, you hardly know your neighbors. You say, well, you know, if you know somebody over here, oh yeah, I know somebody over there. is there anybody that's doing any direct marketing? In other words, is there a flyer that exists? I mean, I could create my own. I'm pretty good at that kind of stuff. But if there's a flyer that exists that's working, where they're making up 50 flyers, they're going into these various neighborhoods and they're just stuffing mailboxes with your contact information with a little come on saying, get in touch with me. Do you know anything about mining cryptocurrency? I don't know what the hook is, but is anybody using that method and just going around and delivering mail in mailboxes with a flyer? Have you ever heard anything like that?
I know someone has made some type of flyer, but I haven't really seen it. If I come across that, I'll let you know. But I think one of the best ways to do it is there's one app called Nextdoor.
Yes.
It's like it's a different kind of app. It's rings and ring doorbells and people reporting on other people's dog crap and
Yes,
stuff
I'm
like
a
that,
next
right?
door person.
Yeah, so dog crapped on my yard. Who knows this person that's got a Yorkie? We should go and hang him by the tree. That kind of stuff. But you can also use it to build that strategic group. You can go into a very local zip code, which is typically what you're looking for when you're building a six-pack, and just put a message out there saying, hey, I've got a community project I'm working on and I need volunteers. If anybody's interested, please reach out to me, private message me. It's a really cool project. So if you're kind of technologically savvy, that'd be great. So something like that, very vague. So people private message you because people want to get involved. I'm telling you, people hear something that they can get involved in. There's no shortage of those people. And then they reach out to you, private message, and you say, okay, where do you live? What's your address? If you get to that point, if they're not comfortable giving you an address yet, say, if you could just give me a landmark of where you live close to, then okay, great. Then you plug them in and you see if they fall into that and you say, okay, here's what it is. And then you kind of pitch it to them saying, the reason why I'm reaching out to you is because you're close to me and we can work together strategically, because you might not know the 5 other people in that area, but if you get one other person, they might lead to at least one other person, which then between the 3 of you now, you can kind of reach out and fill that 6-pack. That's it for 6-packs. Then you're done and move on and get other people and try to teach them to do the same thing. But that's really if you're out in kind of like nowhere land.
All right, Ed, I had one more question before Carla. I do have people in my, that I signed up who are members of T Network, which you're familiar with. And they live in a home at the corner of Shady Grove Road and I-270. I mean, they're like near the hospital. I mean, like a beautiful place. They live in their home, but they don't have, they're not interested in building any teams. Is there a way for me to encourage the company to say, I've got a person in my organization that's right in the center of all these lit up boxes. Can I get her a box? Is that possible?
Like to get her, like put into
moved up in the queue or something. How do I get her? If I know that's a really great spot, she's in my organization. I signed her up personally, but she hasn't signed anybody else up. She's not paying attention. How do I get a box to her house? Because I have a personal relationship with her. I've known her for 15 to 20 years. She said, yeah, I'll do it, Kurt, if you think I should do it. It's just the kind of person. And she is in a good spot, and it's in a house near this location I'm talking about. And I think it could be a great spot. How do I get her a box so she can make money and I can make money?
Well, do you know if she do an assessment?
Oh, well, I could do one on her address. Yeah.
Yeah, do an assessment on it.
I
Right
can
now,
tell you right now, that's a good place. That's around where I live. That's a very hot area in there. Shady Grove by I-270.
Yeah.
Yes. It's by the metro station. There's a lot of shopping centers in there. There's Maryland 355, which is basically the interconnector between DC and Pennsylvania. It goes all the way across Maryland to DC, Virginia.
Yeah, and the Montgomery hospitals are,
A lot of restaurants, a lot of doctors' offices around there, and a lot of corporate offices around there.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Anyway,
what
we can talk about that offline again, Ed, but I just thought I'd,
But that's a good point. That's a good point, Kurt, is if you have one person who's not going to be building and they're in a great location, if there's a lot of hot spots all the way around that are already active,
yeah,
and she fills in a spot there that's going to produce money,
yeah.
I would imagine they'd want to get her a hub real quick. She doesn't have to have six others around her.
No, exactly.
If her spot fills in a good location, they're going to want to get it there.
Yeah, that's what
Exactly.
I'm thinking.
Because
But how do we get that information to them,
they already know that.
Yeah.
That when real free deployment really starts going, okay, and that's probably gonna be about three weeks to a month where they're free flowing boxes. Right now, it's dealing with VIPs, right? If she comes into their intelligence on their system in the helium track, they're looking at the best assessed addresses. They have all that intelligence. So if her address is going to be a really good address, they're already going to ship it to her. They're just going to communicate with her. I don't know exactly what's going to happen where they reach out to her and say, okay, it's time for you to get their box. I don't know exactly what they say in that email. If there's probably going to be a small shipping charge. I've heard of $25 shipping charge to get the box to her. She accepts that. That means that she knows it's coming now. She's actually got skin in the game a little bit because she's paying for shipping. And then they ship the box off. But they're probably going to communicate with the upline too to let them know that they did that. It'll pop up in your back office so that you know, or whoever knows, to reach out to them to say, okay, the box is coming. I'd like to help you get it installed properly.
And do they also consider the fact that, I'm involved in a business builder and I directly signed her up? Is that in the formula? So to speak?
It would be, you'd be your upline
Yeah.
that you would probably see that come to your back office and know to reach out to her saying, hey, good luck. This is awesome. You're getting a box.
So once again, Joel, that's comforting to somebody like you. Because you probably have a lot of people like that in your organization that have great spots. So you're good. All right, I did want to bring back Carla had a question. Carla, you still there? She faded out on me.
Think about
She's muted.
While you're on the treasure trove of data that Helium Track was able to bring to the table. They could never have done the free deployment without Helium Track, because Helium Track has the intelligence built into it to know the approximate amount that a box is going to make being at an address. So in their queue, they already have the top 10,000 addresses. You know what I mean? They already have that information. It's just, weeding those people out. Who's real? Who's not? Sending an email off to the email on the account saying, okay, your box is going to get shipped out. You got 48 hours to do the shipping, pay for shipping, and the box is coming. So out of those 10,000 perfect addresses, maybe 5,000 of them go in, follow up on the email, do what they need to do in the first 48 hours to ship it out. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what that process is going to be. I can only think about what it is that I'm thinking I would be doing if I was in their shoes.
Good point. Really good point. All right.
just to add a little bit on how to get more people in, if I can just share what I do on my spare time. I usually get my tablet with me, and you know, if I visit, let's just say my barber, I have my tablet with me that has a page saved up for my affiliate link already saved up in my tablet. So as I'm talking to them, I tell them about the opportunity and everything. I don't tell them you have to go get a box. I said, do you need a box? If you want a box, I can get you one right now. So they said, oh, great. So what I do is I just pull up that page on my tablet and I just fill it up right there and just tell them, hey, just confirm on the helium track, confirm it, boom, done. You're good to go. So, this is with people that I know. People that I don't know, I just created, a landing page and people just watch the video and then they just signed up. I got some people that have signed up under me that I don't even know, but that was just internet marketing. However, for the people that if you know that they're not like internet savvy or tech savvy, you could always just go to your affiliate link page and just like you're gonna place an order for a new person and you just do it for them real quick and it's done and you confirm new person on
How
your
do you
list.
how do you get around the the objections you hear all the time? Well, I need to do my due diligence, or hey, is it safe? Are they going to tap is it going to hurt my signal? We all know what the regular questions are.
Right.
Are they going to steal my identity? Whatever you're going to hear. How do you get
No, you're
around
right.
all that?
As far as the security, I tell them that it is more secure than your own Wi-Fi network because it's running through blockchain, which is unbreakable so far. And if they do need to know more technical things, I just give them the support link, which is through iHub, so they can just take a look at the security measurements themselves and they can read it. But I just tell them it is safer actually than your own internet security. So it's backed up by a helium, which is cryptocurrency that is actually you cannot break it and you can't hack it unless if you give your own ID to someone to take your currency. So as far as will it take out of my connection, the answer to that is no, because it does not use your internet. It's a long fi, so it's totally different than the internet. It uses a fracture of your internet that you wouldn't even notice. It uses less internet than your own phone. This is what I tell people. So which is a fact. It doesn't it doesn't use as much internet as any other device we got in the house.
Yes, but what if you're using the Wi-Fi instead of a direct connect to the router?
It's
Same-
pretty much
same
the
thing.
same thing because it's taken the same amount of internet, whether if it's wired or Wi-Fi. So
It's hardly measurable how much broadband it uses. Have you guys seen the new landing pages that you guys have?
Yes, and they're great. And I mean, that's what I've been using now is this
It does
landing
all the
page.
work for you.
It does it all.
There's nothing else you need. You just send them your link and they say, okay, how do I get started? Signing up, follow easy steps, reserve your hotspot. How does it work? Is it safe? Is it government approved? It all is done already. I just let the link do the work now.
The other thing too is that you don't have to start sending out assessments now either. I mean, this landing page makes it just like steps 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it really streamlined the process beautifully.
Yep. So now someone signs up and they go through the process. They join in. They reserve their hotspot. You don't have any question of whether they're in the old database or whether they're in the new one. Bring it over the orange dot. Every time I've signed somebody up this way, I go in and there's an orange dot right away. Real time. So if there's not an orange dot, John, then you definitely want to get, someone to look at that.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'll get them to look at it again.
Maybe they go in and they say change the address or something. They can go in there and try that to get it to sync up, because I'm sure for a week there when they launched this new site, it was probably a little iffy on whether the data stuck or not. But
Yeah.
they're definitely going through the old database with a fine tooth comb. So if people signed up in the old one and the orange dot's not there, it just because it hasn't transferred over yet. So it'll eventually transfer over from what we've been told.
And they've got that new support thing too on our website. You click on support now, it's got a lot more information in it.
Yeah. So I
Yes.
think a couple things I'll leave you guys with, because I think it's important. Find out, think about it from a realistic perspective. You're either a 5%er, a 20%er, or an 80%er, right? And so are everyone that you brought in on your team. If you're the 5%er and you really understand what's going on here and you really understand the magnitude of this, you need to be on all the calls. You just need to. I mean, it's a business that's changing like the freaking wind. And if you want to be the best person for your team that you can be, you need to be plugged in like nobody else. If you're the 20%er, pop in every 2 weeks and see what the latest is on Thursday nights. That's my advice. The Thursday night training is the best. They really do a deep dive Thursday nights. They do lots of different things there. If you're an 80%er, just give the expectation to that person that, listen, you can go out there and plug away at this, get a couple people now and again, just if it's convenient, but it's going to be a delayed gratification business. It's going to be something that happens over time. So, the Facebook group, definitely get your people in there, because stuff now that you just wish everybody on your team knew. So encourage them to pop in and just go on a Tuesday or a Thursday strategy session where they can go in and throw in, all they do is go into the chat and put in an address. We go on and we look at the address and we give advice on what they should be doing and different strategies that they can deploy in order to speed up their free hotspot. So, get them plugging into that.
Also, I did record this. I haven't even stopped the recording yet. But we're on about an hour and 15 minutes at this point. But I will upload this to my YouTube page, and I'll have a link, and I will send it out to my team. I'll use the same address that I use to promote this event. So it's going to go all out to you and your business builders. But I don't have everybody who are, happening in your organization. So take that and forward it on and say, this is a must watch.
Good point.
All right. Anybody have any closing comments or questions? And I'm just going to let Ed give the last word, and we'll call it a meeting. Carla, did you still have something?
I do. I need some help with like the quick little, Jay's really great with giving me some little verbiage about what he just went on the little thing, like, hey, I have a community project I'm working on. What are some of the other things that y'all are introducing? Because when I sent it out, one person replied like, oh, crypto hasn't worked for me. I really don't want anything to do with it. I'm like, no, give me a moment to really educate you on what we're doing. But what are some of the verbiages that y'all are using so that I can share? Just a
That
couple of
gives
little.
people that catches people's attention and gets them open-minded to listen.
Yes, just a few off the top of y'all's head. I just want to kind of get that feel.
I like the pig, passive income generator.
The pig, oink, oink.
Yeah, when they tell me what is this about? Like I'm sorry, it just says webinar presenter. I didn't catch your name.
So one of the things is when I first got started, I would call people up and say, hey, let me ask you a question. Or I'd text them saying, hey, do you know anything about crypto? Just a straight out question. Cause that you can go anywhere with that question and that answer. Okay. Do you know anything about crypto? I would never call someone up and say, hey, I got a great crypto project. I could be talking to someone that is absolutely vehemently against crypto. And no matter what comes out of my mouth next, they're never going to listen to. So if you find out, first of all, hey, do you participate in anything with crypto? Right. And then I would say, if they say yes, say, what's your favorite one and why? What's your favorite one and why? And then they're going to, obviously by the time that's over, they're going to come back and be like, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. Well, you know what? I've been introduced to a million crypto things over the last couple of years, and I never knew what it was all about. What was the business behind it? Like, what's the blockchain? What's Bitcoin and Ethereum? like, I get it from an investor standpoint, but what's the meat on the bones? What's really happening? How is it generating money? What's the business model? And then I found something. Like, the craziest thing happened to me. I found a crypto that actually had a business model behind it, and it made sense to me. And I'd love to share it with you because it might make sense to you too.
Okay, okay, a couple more, just a quick
Like,
one.
I'll bet you 9 out of 10 people that you talk to that talk about crypto, they have a Coinbase account or a Binance account, and they buy stuff because they heard it on Twitter. They have no clue what they're investing in, and they just don't have a clue about what it is, but they have money deployed into it. That's probably 9 out of 10 people.
Right. My approach is typically in the past been, have you ever heard of the Internet of Things? And I would say 5 out of 6, 5 out of 7, 6 out of 7 say, yeah, no, I don't know anything. Well, maybe I've heard the phrase, most of them don't know. Every once in a while you hit somebody who says, yeah, I know a lot about that. But that at least gives you a starting point to open up a conversation where you're not trying to sell them anything. You're not trying to pitch them on anything. You just kind of ask them, hey, have you ever heard of the Internet of Things? And then that gets a conversation going. And then you talk about how the world, what the world was like before cell phones. Well, people are saying that this is going to be every bit as big and life-changing as what cell phones did to the world. The Internet of Things. There's going to be chips and sensors and everything. You're going to be able to control things, your house, everything from these Internet of Things. But the only reason you haven't heard about it, and this is where I find it an effective way to do this, because most people don't know what the Internet of Things are. So I say the reason you haven't heard about it is because this technology is everywhere, but there's no signal. And it's been a problem, and it's finally been solved. And I was introduced to, I'm going to help solve it. I'm going to help build the network that's going to talk to the chips for the Internet of Things. And I'm really excited about it. And I've told a few people, and it's free to get involved. I mean, I'd love to share this idea with you. And then they go, really? What do you mean? And then, you just start bringing them right down the line, and eventually you talk about how you're paid with cryptocurrency, and oh yeah, my brother-in-law's into that, or yeah, I don't do it, but my kids love it. I mean, it just brings up things to talk about and to bring them down the golden path to say, hey, take a look at this thing. And that's the way I do it. I'm sure there's better ways, but that's just me.
Okay, what about Fod? You said something that you are internet, that you do this. What are some of the things you're using?
Maybe Fod's tuned out.
Okay. But yeah, because I really honestly, other than word by word, I don't have the verbiage. John gives it, but like next door Wood Forest, I never thought about telling them I'm in a project. They want to be part of it. So that was huge for me, is inviting.
By the way, I'm sorry. I was just on mute.
So I was asking, because you mentioned that you're an internet marketing professional. What are some of the things, what worded or some verbiage that do you use to attract for, someone like me that's just beginning?
It could start with just a question. If you're doing a landing page, you could start with the question, which is basically how would you like to invest in crypto with zero investment? To know more, to know more, click here. It's that easy. And then they can just click in. Once they click in, they get redirected to the landing page of iGlobal, which basically had, all the information with the video. And basically that will take charge. After that, they will see the video, they will learn more. And if they have any questions, then they just reach out. And that's pretty much it.
You got to know your audience and who you're marketing to, because if you send something like, hey, how would you like to join the new cryptocurrency, mining activity that's backed by business, and you're saying that to your mom's group, they're not going to be interested in looking at it. So
Exactly,
you have to market, you have to put the content together for the group that you're trying to market to.
Yep, but I needed a bunch of different perspectives from all of y'all because, you know, I'm in different fields and with different hats and different settings. And it's like, I just kind of want to be fluid with the language and get some ideas.
Well, you got to, Carla, you have to first understand what is the concerns about the people that you're talking to. In other words, if you got a group of moms, what's typically their biggest concern? And then try to address the answer for that concern. Find the problem and then solve it with a solution. But too often we try to want to get the solution out in front of the problem, and a lot of times we miss the problem. And people don't like being sold to when you do it that way either.
Excellent, excellent. But that just helps me. Like Rick is on the phone. Okay, we got Steven on the phone. They're all in different professions. I just wanted to throw some ideas maybe that we hadn't thought about or some verbiage to use. So
yeah, Fod set it off perfectly. You got to ask questions. You got to find out where the person's coming from. And by asking them questions is going to solicit whether or not they're going to be interested. And I like what Ed said, hey, do you participate in any cryptocurrencies today? And if you do, which ones and why? I mean, getting somebody to answer that question is a great question.
Yep. Thank you.
And then you can say, one of the other things is, hey, who do you use for the internet?
Right.
And you find out, who do you use for your cell phone provider? And you find that out and say, okay, I'm not trying to get too nosy here, but how much do you pay every month for the service?
Yep.
Oh, I pay about $100 for internet. And is it good speed and all that? And yeah. Say, well, listen, not for nothing, but I found a way that I can get my internet for free. And they're like, well, how? I'd say, well, there's a company that gives you these boxes and you can host it at your house. And just by hosting the box, they pay you a portion of what the box earns for them. And it's typically enough to pay for your internet service. So if you would like to hear about it, I could share you with it, but it's really exciting. I'm really excited about it. So you
that's
just kind
great.
of,
Yep, and you can always throw a bonus by saying, and it's scalable, that you could actually get more out of it than just paying your internet. Because I used this and it did work with 3 people.
Love it. See, that's what I needed. Some of those little different avenues and verbiages, and I like that.
so I'll leave you guys with this today. One of the things that is starting to become very crystal clear to me in this opportunity is that we're building out the infrastructure of the IoT, like of the entire IoT network. And that's what we're doing. And we could just stay single focused on that and make tons of money. But what is really coming crystal clear to me is that with iHub Global, going to be undoubtedly the biggest partner that Helium has for distribution. They're also going to be the biggest partner for pretty much every other developer, app developer, sensor developer, any kind of company to want to partner up with us to get stuff deployed out there into the marketplace as well. That is just mind-boggling how big that becomes, because we got the foundation, but now we also have a million reps out there in local marketplaces that can go talk to businesses, and it all flows through the comp plan. There's just so much more to this than meets the eye. Even if it was just the network alone, great, I'll take it. But when you add in all the different stuff and the potential of what, it's kind of like if you're Verizon, you built out a network, right? And you let a bunch of entrepreneurs go out there and open up Verizon stores to resell the phones. You've got all these manufacturers, you've got all this stuff. Well, Verizon was like, we're making so much money on our network, but guess what? Now we want to own the stores too. So they started going in and setting up nice stores. So they own it from soup to nuts. And then if you want to be on their network and you want to do stuff, you got to pay the piper. Well, the People's Network is a little different because it's not one company that's going to control everything. Everyone's going to want to come to iHub Global, and they're already starting to. There's opportunities left and right that are coming at Rick Cotton, wanting to use our platform to get stuff out there. It's really big when you really think about it.
I'll think about all the chips that are going into all these things. Manufacturers are putting chips into everything. I mean, we could be an extension of putting stuff out that's on the IoT.
I wouldn't be surprised, and give it another year, there'll be IoT stores that start to pop up on Main Street.
Yeah.
To show a bunch of different types of devices that you can get for residential, your dog, you name it. I mean, there's stuff that we can't even comprehend right now because it hasn't even been invented yet.
Children's backpacks, all sorts of things.
Yep, exactly. Knowing where your kid is all the time with a little device that goes on their belt, whatever.
I'm glad I was born in 1958.
Me too.
You kid, you youngster.
Yeah, John, you may call Kurt a youngster, but you're one yourself.
I think I'm older than you, Joel.
Yeah,
No way.
I don't think so.
How old are you, Joel?
41, I'm 80.
80. All right. Well, I'm not that far behind you.
Yeah, well, I told you.
Okay, Dad.
There you go. Now you're learning.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording. Ed, thank you for taking so much time with us today. And I couldn't be more proud to be part of such an incredible group of people. And I want to get to know more of your people. So please, get me their email addresses. If you've got business builders in your organization that I don't know yet, I don't know their phone number, I don't know their email address. That's one of the things that our back office needs to do, Ed. I don't know if you can put it in a good word, but I can see my own team and get information, but I can't see any more beyond that.
Yeah, that is the toughest part about it because you can only communicate to your front line. But as soon as you get boxes, you can start to see when it gets lit up, right? That's when you can start to see the full back office, and it's very exciting. So,
Okay.
Like I said before, plug in. If I had to give you one thing to plug into every week, would be the Thursday night. At least watch the replay if you can't do it on Thursday nights. But come in on the Facebook group, pass your people through, and just go through these strategy sessions, because the better they get at looking at things and figuring out how to assess the landscape out there, just the more articulate they'll get, and the faster things will progress for them.
Where do you go for the replays, Ed?
The replays are on there. If you get like an email from them once a week on like the recording of the schedule for the week, you can go into the YouTube group because they do everything through YouTube, and everything's set there and recorded pretty much immediately after it's done.
That's the Tuesday and Thursday as well.
Tuesdays and Thursdays is different. It's a live. We're doing another one tomorrow at noon, but it's on our Facebook group, the Helium iHub. If you go into Helium iHub and request to get in, I'll let you in. Once you're in, there's a lot of brainstorming and stuff like that going on there.
But there's no recording.
There's no recording on that. Those are live.
The iHub webinars that they do on Monday and Tuesday and Thursdays, those are recorded, and they're if you go to the
I
support
understand
center.
that. I was talking about the Facebook ones because
The Facebook group, yeah. I don't. But the corporate ones are up in the support center. When you click on support center, it'll pop up a button, and then you click on live webinars down there, not the training, but the live webinars. Those are all the webinars that were recorded. You scroll down, you can see them all right down there.
Well,
And you mentioned Las Vegas and this big event. When you said Eric, you're talking about the helium track guy, right?
Yep. Eric Cotton.
He's right there on the bottom right.
Yep.
Yeah.
These are great training. Some of these go really in depth. This guy
Yeah.
is a home run. Fact that we picked him up. He's really, really good.
He's extremely technical.
Yeah, he's very technical, but I jive with what he's got enthusiasm.
Yep.
He knows the market. He knows the crypto space, and he's the software developer. Like, I've never seen a company move so fast on big things like these guys are doing right now. I mean, they're
Talking about
definitely
Eric?
setting up a first-class operation.
You
Yeah,
talking
Eric.
about Eric?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
All right, boys and girls, it's a meeting. Thank you, Ed, again. Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah,
And
thanks, Ed. Thanks, Kirk.
I'll get
You
this
got it.
recording up on my YouTube and get the links out to you ASAP.
Thank you, everybody. Nice.
Perfect. Great.
awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.